But like,
that's what they started figuring out there in 2015.
Yeah, the
because in that year alone, we had this or Jurassic World, which they used. We talked about this before. They used the slow single piano version of the theme from the original to make you go. It's wistful, nostalgic. The bum 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 bum, and then the same summer, they did the exact same thing with the 2016 Ghostbusters, where they played bum bum bum.
Oh, that's
bum,
right.
Bum 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 bum.
Yeah.
You're like, ooh, I remember when I was a child and I saw Ghostbusters, and then it was Star Wars as well. It wasn't a lone piano, but it was the quiet, soft version of the theme from the original, like. Remember when you were a child. Remember when things were good. Remember when movies were fun. It is pure nostalgia bait. Hello, and welcome back to the spoilerCast. The show where we talk about movies and we don't care about spoiling them because it's in the name. I have to say that every time.
Yes.
Come on. My name is Tobias, and with me as always is my sister and trusty co-host, Rebecca.
Hello.
And in this episode, we're not going to talk about a new movie. We're going to talk about two old movies. Not super old. I mean, the first one is almost 10 years old, but not really. We're talking about Jurassic World and Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom. Because, next week we're watching Jurassic World Dominion. It's kind of a...
I was about to call it Extinction, but that's not the name.
No, it's Dominion. I'm pretty sure it's Dominion. Which is kind of funny because ever since even before the trailers for that movie dropped, because we knew there was a third one coming, we were like, we're not going to watch that one, are we? No, you agreed, like, no, we're not going to watch it.
Yeah.
And all the way up until yesterday, we had no plans of watching it. But, and maybe you can hear this, at least in my voice, we have both been suffering from a cold.
Yes.
We've had the sniffles now for,
about a week.
Yeah, a week. So, I caught it, and I've been suffering greatly. So if you're listening to my other podcast, Madness in the Method, which you can check out right at the same place where you can check out the spoilerCast, every platform and everything. We recorded our season finale this week, and I was almost dying. It was in the middle of my cold. We recorded it last Tuesday, and man, it was a struggle. Now it's better, but I'm still sounding a little weird.
Yeah.
So, that's that. Sorry for dragging this out.
We chose to do two movies we could see from home.
Yes.
Also, it's the perfect preparation for next week, because I have not seen Jurassic World or Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom, I think, since 2018.
Yeah, no, me neither. I've never rewatched those. I have rewatched Jurassic World once, because I think it was on Netflix. I was like, maybe it's good. And I was like, no. Well.
Yeah, spoiler, I'm not a fan of either.
Yeah, and I remember us even discussing that back in 2015 when we saw the first one, that it was fun and exciting, because, there's some nice dino action, but I think even back then, when it was before I even started watching movies like analytically, like for YouTube or for podcasts or anything, there was this feeling like, it's a new one, but it's also it's just a remake, basically.
Yeah.
And this was before The Force Awakens kind of minted, or at least brought to the mainstream the soft reboot kind of thing. Because, it's Jurassic World is just a remake,
basically,
but with more dinosaurs and more people.
Yeah, and
it's,
to be honest, Jurassic World is okay. It's fine.
Yeah.
I understand why they made it. I understand why it, at the beginning at least, was pretty popular.
It was one of the, I think it was the biggest, other than Star Wars, of course, movie of that year.
Yeah.
And it's still one of the highest grossing movies of all time. Yeah, I kind of understand why, but I also, I guess we'll get more than that into when we talk about Fallen Kingdom. But I also think that, back then didn't think people were that gullible. Like, you're just being shown the same movie again.
Thing is, this is Jurassic Park made for the new world, with more technology, younger people being able to relate to it in a different way. Because we grew up watching the original.
Yeah.
When is that released?
saw this came out in 93, I think. So I didn't see it at that time, but I saw it around the time of The Lost World, when I was a little older, when I was like 6-7 years old.
And I mean, we watched it over and over.
Oh yeah, it's one
fantastic.
of my all-time favorite movies. It's like in my it might be in my top 20 at least. I was gonna say top 10, but maybe not top 10. But it's definitely my top 100. Like, it's a masterpiece. It's a close to flawless masterpiece.
It also did something that no other movie had done before, which is bring back dinosaurs.
Yeah. Well, there were movies before that.
Yeah, but not
this
like
one did
that.
It like, oh wait, are these are like real dinosaurs, basically. Yeah. As close as we can get.
And they were trying to recreate that with Jurassic World in 2015.
Yeah.
And I guess they sort of did. Because looking at it, like, if you only look at the cool shots, the long shots, you don't care about the story, it looks pretty awesome.
It does.
It looks like a cool project that if it happened in real life, most people would be pretty excited.
Oh, sure, yeah.
But then you have a not so interesting story and stupid decisions and not the best script.
Yeah.
In general, just ruining everything, basically.
Everything, yeah.
I guess the music is fine.
The music is good.
The effects, I mean, the dinosaurs do look pretty cool.
Yeah, but I mean, in this day and age...
They should.
Like, there's no excuse for a $100 million, even like a $50 million movie to have bad effects. I don't think so. Like
no, that's true.
We've perfected that at this point.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and that's also why, showing, ooh, look at all these cool dinosaurs. It's like, yeah, but we've seen it before. We're just expecting, that's part of the problem with the movie, and part of the problem they're trying to, like, tackle in the script as well. Like, why should people go back and see another dinosaur movie? We've already seen that. Same thing as, why should they come back to Jurassic World? They've already seen the dinosaurs. That's why they have to, start with, gene manipulation.
Introducing new ones.
Yeah.
Because, all the existing dinosaurs, the ones you've already heard about, yeah, we know. Cool.
Yeah.
I've seen one of those now.
Which is also...
What else?
Which is so cynical, I think, because... dinosaurs at that point in the world of Jurassic Park and Jurassic World, the dinosaurs they've technically existed since the early 90s, but the park has only been open for 10 years.
Yes.
So first of all, not everyone in the world has seen a dinosaur yet. They've seen it on TV maybe, but they haven't seen a dinosaur in real life. And the fact that they're like, they're talking about, like, audience attendance is steady, like low 20,000s. It's holding. It's not rising. It's holding. But it's like maintenance costs that it's driving them to, like, do more, like, sponsored stuff and start trying to create new attractions. But in real life, like, we had zoos.
I was about to say that. Think of a regular zoo. How often do they introduce a new animal that has not yet existed anywhere else?
Yeah, and we have zoos that have that have had, like, hundreds of years of existence that are still, like,
only showing
popular.
penguins.
Yeah,
like,
I mean, just here in Sweden we have something called Skansen, and it's been around since. Well, like 100 years. I think it's over 100 years now. People still go there every year.
And it's still the same animals.
Yeah, we haven't been there in a long time because we're a little too old. And
I think I was there a couple of years ago, to be honest.
Okay, yeah.
Well, just before the pandemic.
Yeah, when we were kids, we were there every summer.
Basically.
At least once. To check something out.
Try to see the wolves, you try to see the bears, and you obviously can see the birds and the smaller animals because they're not as shy.
Yeah.
But it's still as exciting seeing the owls every time. Like,
yeah, so, and same thing with museums. I still go to museums, like, more than a few times every year. with our parents, we usually go together because they go like every month. And sure, I understand what they're trying to do. It's a play on, how people are, becoming numb to special effects movies. You need to push it constantly, push it to the point where it breaks. But the analogy works. It's just like, really, do you think after 10 years people are tired of dinosaurs? Really?
It would make more sense if they were like, oh, we've had the park open since the 90s.
Yeah, and then you can maybe start talking about
20 years. Then maybe you can start talking about having to reintroduce new species.
Yeah.
But even then, like, I don't know, have a new baby dinosaur being born should be enough. I mean, we do that with pandas.
Yeah.
Every year
exactly.
a new panda is born. It's like
a miracle.
Every
time every time a panda is born. So
it would be the same with the new. I don't even remember the names of them. The
like
long
a triceratops or a stegodon or whatever. Yeah. It's like,
that would be fantastic.
Join us to watch the eggs hatch.
Exactly.
Oh my god.
They could raise the prices 200 times and people would still go there.
Yeah.
But no, they decide to play genetic doctors and
play God.
and introduce a new species that has never existed before and therefore has no predators.
Yeah.
And they do it in a very strange way. They do it in an enclosure.
Yeah, well, because it's so aggressive,
but
they have to.
Kind of a small enclosure.
Yeah.
And they don't even, consider what they put into it.
Yeah. We kind of find out, though, that, of course, that was InGen, doing some shady stuff, because they still want to, they want to militarize the dinosaurs, which is just, the dumbest thing ever.
Oh, yeah.
Their reasoning for, we need animals to fight for us, because, drones, drone warfare and, modern warfare with, satellites
electronics
and drones and
stuff.
Yeah, it's
you can hack it.
It can be hacked. It's and an animal can be killed by a handgun.
Much like a human.
Yeah.
The only difference is they're probably faster and stronger.
Yeah, and then you're like, oh, but then, they want to basically use them as cannon fodder, but they forget that, making one velociraptor, which I guess is, their main, what they want to breed, except for the indominus rex, They talk about they talk about how expensive the indominus rex is, and I guess that's more expensive. But I still think cloning or creating a new velociraptor is not cheap.
Training it.
Yeah, and training is not cheap.
Only to have it die after what? An hour in the war?
Yeah, Owen Grady, Chris Pratt's character, he talks about he's been training them since they were children, so for at least 5 years or something. Yeah, and he can barely make them pay attention to him.
Yeah.
How is this going to be profitable? How is it going to
work?
Warfare. Yeah.
What is stopping the velociraptor from gunshot is over there. I'm going to turn around. Oh shit, there's humans closer to me. I'm going to eat them.
Yeah, that's also something they never tried. How will they react to gunshots or being fired at?
I don't think
they're
animal
animals.
Control
they're not
will work
I gotta brave these gunshots to save my master. It's not really how it works, especially since they are more reptile than mammal, even though they're not pure reptile. They are.
They're cold-blooded, at least.
No, they found out around that time that they're
true.
not cold-blooded.
But you know what I mean.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
They're not pets. They're not a loyal dog or even cats that can they care about their humans.
Yeah, it's a silly idea, which I am glad they didn't go all the way with as they were going to in the when the script was first being talked about, because I had this site I used to go to where they had a bunch of maybe it's not as cool as I thought it was, but I was younger. There was a site where you could get insider information. So they were talking about the Jurassic World script in 2006 or 7. And there were leaks surrounding it that, Steven Spielberg were looking at a movie about dinosaurs with guns. And I was
yeah, I remember that.
What the fuck? What are you talking about? So the original was going to be like them literally building them to be war machines. It's like, yeah, I'm glad they didn't do that, because that would be even further from the original. And it would, like, be silly, because that's also something we should discuss. Like, why the original works so well and why it's so timeless is because it is not a story about people running from dinosaurs. It's not like a horror movie. It's not really like I mean, it is a like kind of a popcorn blockbuster entertainment movie. It is, but it's also a movie that is all about, you know, man's like irreverence when like tampering with the forces of nature. Yeah. It's the classic like hubris of man story, which is, you know, the closest to like Godzilla.
They hammer it home more in Fallen Kingdom with Jeff Goldblum's all the speeches. I think it's like both in the beginning and the end.
But they hammered home pretty damn hard in this as well. Because in the original, it's all
the original.
The original, Jurassic Park. It's all like, you know, I've built this park and I need you two to come, you know, check it out for me and, you know, give your thoughts on it. And then we get there like, oh my god, there's a dinosaur. That first shot of that brachiosaur is insane. It's still so epic. I guess mostly because of nostalgia nowadays, but still like, whoa, when they see it and it takes his glasses off and everything. But then very quickly, like 10 minutes later, after they see the raptor feeding, everyone except for the lawyer and of course Hammond, they're like, this is not something we actually should do.
This isn't safe. This isn't normal.
Yeah, these are animals that have been extinct for 65 million years. We don't know how they actually, like, all we have to go on are, like, bones. And this is coming from two paleontologists, or one paleontologist, one paleobotanist. Like, excuse me. We don't actually know how they're going to function in real life.
Especially not with modern and current flora and fauna and animals and humans in general.
Yeah, and the perfect little, like, example they use is when what's her name? Sally, Laura Dern's character. I forget.
Ellie. I don't know. She's just listed as Ellie.
All right, Ellie. She says that like you have these highly poisonous plants in the park because it's something, you know, that looks beautiful and it's something that the animals like. It fits in with the flora and fauna of the time, but you don't know how it's going to affect people or even the dinosaurs.
Yeah.
Like, you're not thinking the whole way through. And of course, there's the whole, you know, Dr. Malcolm talking about, like, you're playing God. And then that's one scene, the scene when they're having lunch. And then they kind of let go of that. Like, there's no more, like, hammering home of that point. Like, fine, but can we, like, check out the park? And then, almost like, you know, like prophecy, what they talk about, like, become true. Because there are forces beyond their control that, you know, one being a very human one, greed from Dennis Nedry.
Yeah.
But then also showing them how little they can control these animals. The rest of the movie kind of is an example of, without, like, wagging their finger in your face. Like, it's all about people running from dinosaurs, but it's also like an example of how little control these people have over dinosaurs.
Yeah, because they pointed out in the beginning, we don't know what's gonna happen, and then shit happens, basically.
Yeah.
And we don't know how to control it, and they don't.
Yeah, and then they have
to run for their lives.
Yeah, and they have one more scene where Ellie and Hammond, they're eating the ice cream, and they talk more about, like, the illusion of control. There's one more, like, a few minutes, and then there is the very, very end when they get on a chopper, and Dr. Grant says, like, oh, after evaluating your park, I'm gonna recommend you don't open it, and that's it.
Yeah.
So, and the rest is telling us that, but through visuals.
Exactly.
there's so much talk in Jurassic World about order and chaos, and they're animals, and, oh my god, we were playing with things we didn't know, all the time. And there are a few visual things as well, which, that's fun. But it's so blunt in its morals. Its messaging. Yeah, in its morals. And the fact that it's the same morals that we had 20 years earlier. And even
and the worst part is that they're basing the story, they're acknowledging the original movie, so they know why he never opened the park.
Yeah.
But then they've decided to do it.
Yeah, and they make the exact same mistakes.
Yeah.
They think they have control over something they don't have control over. So
I mean, sure, for 10 years they've had control over existing dinosaurs, over the original dinosaurs.
Yeah, but then they built this one that they can't control.
Yeah. Because they decided to go bigger or badder. And
but it's the same,
it's the same problem.
And ethical, and philosophical dilemma they had in 93 that they're having in 2015. So why did they think there were going to be different outcome?
Yeah. Especially when they've created something that's never existed before. Like, sure, we don't know how dinosaurs would react when they come back to life, kind of thing. But creating a creature that we have no previous, scientific research about.
Yeah.
We don't know what genes and what qualities will be part of the animal when you take parts from other species.
Yeah. It's like
obviously they didn't even know that the Indominus Rex was smart enough to trick humans to block its thermal signal or whatever it was.
Yeah. It can hide its thermal signal.
Yeah. They didn't even point out that the fucker was white.
Yeah.
For some reason.
And they don't really point that out, but that might be stuff that Dr. Wu put in there on because InGen told him.
Sure.
But it's almost, like in some scenes when they talk about it, even he seems surprised by oh shit, it can camouflage?
It worked?
I didn't know that.
Oh yeah, we put in some of that tree frog. Of course that could have been something it uses then. Did you not think of that when you put parts of a tree frog in it?
Yeah.
Did you not consider that might be an effect?
Even that is just regurgitating what they talked about in the first movie, because at one point when Dr. Grant is walking around with the kids, they find eggshells in the wild, and they're like, oh, but Grandpa said that they're all female, so that they can only be they can only breed in controlled environments. And then he mentions that but they used DNA from existing animals to fill in the holes of the broken DNA strains that they found in the blood. And there are they talk about certain South American tree frogs that can actually change their gender after being birthed.
Yeah.
So, we now have male and female dinosaurs.
Or
in the wild.
Dinosaurs that can change their sex as they choose. Which is even worse. Yeah. Because then you can't control how many males and females you have and keep them separated.
Once again, they just talk about that, and it's not. And Dr. Grant never stops. This is what we were talking about. This is what we can't control. Instead, when they talk about that, there is a musical sting, and then you remember, oh shit, that's what Malcolm meant when he said life will find a way.
Exactly.
It's subtler than in Jurassic World.
Yeah, so they do the exact same mistakes. We've said that in 10 different ways.
But that's the main crux of the movie. It's just repeating what we already saw in Jurassic Park.
Yes, but then again, you add in training the dinosaurs, which is also
it's a new idea.
Why
but
would you try and? It's very dumb. Why would you try and train a velociraptor, specifically a velociraptor? Aren't they one of the fastest dinosaurs on land?
I think it's the fastest.
Yeah,
one that start with
and 4 of them at the same time.
Start with something more docile, like a herbivore. Their nature is more docile, so they should be easier to control. But of course,
you just try and teach them small tricks, come over here, stop, or whatever.
But that's not exciting because they want to use velociraptors as weapons. But like in reality, yeah, you should probably start with something easier to like learn the fundamentals, and then you move on to the running knives.
Also, but Owen Grady, Chris Pratt's character, did he train the velociraptors for military reason, or did he just train them because? I didn't really understand that, to be honest, because he doesn't want them to be used for military operations at all.
The way they talk about it is that, they hired him to, figure out if they were, if they could be
if
domesticated,
they were trainable,
or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
And when what's his, the bad guy, the guy who played
Vic Hoskins?
Who's the actor? Vincent D'Onofrio.
Vincent.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
When he starts talking about them being used in combat, he's like, "Why did you think we hired you?" Like it was probably implied. Yeah.
Yeah. Like why did Owen think he was training
it's the classic.
them?
It's the classic scientist. Like, yeah, we want to give you all this money to work on like how you could create this immense explosion of energy from splitting an atom. It's like, oh yeah, that's super interesting. But why would you want to use that? Same thing.
Yeah, exactly. Like, why don't you go further? Why don't you? But sure, that is very interesting. But why did you even think of it?
It's the same. Like,
what are you going to do
I
with
think
this information?
scientists in movies mainly, maybe in real life as well, they get kind of blinded by the freedom of exploration, and they're like they don't really know why people want them to science the stuff.
Sure. But we're talking about a military dude here.
Yeah, and it's the same...
being asked to train raptors.
The same company that created the original park.
Yeah.
Sorry. And like,
it's just...
in the sequel, I don't know if the sequels exist in this universe. I think they mentioned the San Diego incident at some point. I'm not sure. That's the Lost World. When the T-Rex is in San Diego.
Right.
But it's still like engine.
I mean, yeah, they mentioned
they
it, I think.
All right. Well, then. Yeah.
Either way, we know from the first movie that shit goes down.
Yeah, exactly. Like, and
that's always gonna come back to. Why the fuck would you, after knowing that they chose not to open the park originally, open the park? Why would you choose to try to domesticate dinosaurs? What's it called? No, not omnivores.
Carnivores?
The meat eaters? Carnivores.
Omnivores eat everything.
I can think. Yes. I mean, they're pretty bad too. Why would you, because I don't think they did that in the original, bring back water and airborne dinosaurs. No. That must be the hardest thing to try and contain.
I don't know about the book. I haven't read the book. But in the movie, there's only land dinosaurs. Yeah,
walking dinosaurs. They must be insane to we'll put flying dinosaurs in a dome. That should be fine, right? What do you do if there's a storm?
These meat-eating, predators with a wingspan of, 15 feet. What are you doing?
Yeah, what do you do if the dome breaks?
They've created dragons, basically.
What do you do? Yeah, what do you do if there's a fucking storm that picks up a tree and crashes into it? How do you stop them from spreading across the world? In minutes.
They did that.
Well, not minutes.
They did that much clever. I don't know if it's true, but they did it more clever in the third Jurassic Park movie, where it was a literal bird cage. It wasn't glass. It was a cage for the flying pterodons. So,
exactly.
Yeah.
And then you have, I don't remember what they call it in this one, but the giant ass water one.
Yeah, I think it's a mosasaurus
that eats sharks. I mean, what? First of all, that enclosure looked way too small for that big of a dinosaur. Second of all, what do you do if that shit escapes? That is larger than any animal we have ever had in the waters. I mean, it looked bigger than a blue whale.
Yeah, it eats the indominus rex, in two bites, and that thing is almost as big as a Jurassic Park, as a Tyrannosaurus Rex.
Yeah,
so it's giant.
It's giant. And obviously, as we see in the second one, that fucker escapes. Which isn't handled or talked about in the second one, which is why I assumed they needed a third one to kind of address the fact that that fucker escaped and the flying ones escaped. Because, before they even had the auction, and because I'm veering into the second one now, before they even had the problem with the auction and buying them and using them for weapons, they have let animals out into the wild.
Yeah,
holy shit!
I know. And just to kind of wrap up our discussion about the first one, so we can move into the second one.
Yes.
All these problems could kind of have been mitigated, at least in the logic of the movie, if this was not a sequel to Jurassic Park. If this was a pure reboot, where the first park didn't exist, that would make sense, because then they didn't know all the pitfalls and dangers yet.
Exactly.
But no, because
they wouldn't have
they have to bank on the name, which, I mean, you could still just call it Jurassic World without making it a sequel. But, and they want to have, references to the original and everything. Like when they run to the old center.
The old park.
There's so much. You even hear little music stings from the original movie. Like,
yes.
Oh, they found the banner that fell over the Tyrannosaurus Rex.
They found the old cars and got them to work. Yay. I mean, yeah, sure, it tugs on your heartstrings because it is nostalgia and it kind of works. But at the same time, it's like, motherfuckers.
Yeah.
Why?
But that was the first time, I think that was the first time I really felt that, like, the movie is, it's trying to make you go, look at that. Oh my god, things I remember. I didn't really experience that before. I'd heard about, like, fan service.
No, because everything else is so brand new and white and bright and it's pretty and you have plushies to buy and it's a resort. You can take a swim in the same water as that big ass dinosaur.
It's the only time before that I think that I'd heard people, like, talking negatively about fan service and references was, I think, in the last Harry Potter movie. It might have been you or just some people, because I was with you on the midnight premiere thing.
Premiere?
Yeah, for both the movies. Some people were, like, angry over, it was too many, like, silly fan service things. I don't know. And I was like,
I don't remember that, to be honest, but I know that the Harry Potter franchise is one of those that, like, we point out the fan servicey stuff from the books, the things that we know people like. We make sure we put that in. So yeah, I suppose.
But anyway, so that's the only way. Like, if they just wanted to tell the same story again, one, which is, I'm always going to argue that, just re-release the original. Like, they did that with...
Oh my god, what if they remastered the original now and just re-released it? It would have been so much better.
They did that back in, like, 2012. They did a 3D re-release. But they should have just done it without the 3D, because,
Yeah.
But yeah, just do that instead. Like, we're bringing back the original classic, in 4K glory.
The original also has more of the... They try to add the mystery in Jurassic World. The whole, you don't see the Indominus Rex, you just see it kind of moving the trees and bushes, and you sort of see the scales, I suppose. But you don't actually see the full size and the actual dinosaur until much later in the movie. But they still show too much. You don't have the same mystery around it like we do with the T-Rex.
Yeah, well, the first thing we see is just two fingers on the supposedly electric fence that is not working anymore. It's such that is one of the best introductions of a quote-unquote villain, or whatever you want to call it, in a movie ever. When it just steps out in between the cars.
And then I think they show, like, the head, right, first. Yeah. Which, I mean, they do kind of recreate that with the mirror image in the dome ball thingy, hamster ball car. Which is kind of cool. But at the same time, by then, we're already mid-action. We're already afraid. That should have been the first introduction to it. That would have been holy shit, it's out.
Yeah.
Much better. But no, we already have Panic running around, screaming, trying to contain things before we know what's out, which kind of ruins it.
Yeah. Quick.
And then we get even worse.
Oh my god, yes. The second one.
Fallen Kingdom.
Jesus Christ. I just want to bring up, like, even before we start talking about it, because I wrote a review of it on Letterboxd, and
I didn't even care to do that.
And the first sentence is, "This is one of the dumbest movies ever made."
Oh yeah, it is. It completely is. I mean, you have one thing in this movie that I like, and it's a 10-second clip.
What's that?
When the boat is leaving the island and you see, is it Stegosaurus? The one with the long neck?
No, it's a brachiosaur.
Yeah. Brachiosaurus, sorry. Yes, Brachiosaurus. You see the Brachiosaurus standing on the docks.
It's very,
dying,
very, very heartstring tugging, yeah, sure.
Yes, those 10 seconds, I think it's about 10 seconds.
Yeah.
Perfect. That shows, oh shit, we fucked up. That gives the perfect emotion that you're supposed to have in that moment, while everything else in that movie is pure garbage. I even, towards the end, I fast forwarded every few minutes or so because get over with it.
The second half
done.
That is why I call it the dumbest movie. It's some of the dumbest shit I've ever seen in a movie. It is just so ridiculous.
Yeah. And they're trying to reason, say, yeah, but they did it first, they ruined everything all the way back in the 90s. What do you think they had falling out because he was tampering with humans as well? Are you trying to just find a reason to justify this, or are you trying to write in some cool plot points to make this movie worthwhile?
And that's probably the biggest problem with this movie, Jurassic World. We're talking about Fallen Kingdom now. First of all, the original sequel was called The Lost World, Jurassic Park, but it was The Lost World.
Yes.
Now, a lost world is, it can mean, we lost it, it's gone, but it can also be, a world that, that fell, like the fall of the Roman Empire. It's a lost kingdom. So, Lost World and Fallen Kingdom is the same name. They just changed the name, the words. Yeah.
But it's the same meaning,
and it's the same movie, because they go to the island and the original is to just document them, that they are actually thriving in a society. But then there is the other part, the engine part, that wants to take them and build a new park in San Diego. And this one, they go there to save them from, this volcano that out of nowhere became active again. In 3 years, they listen, I know that volcanoes can become active again, but there are signs. This doesn't happen in 3 years.
Yeah, and you don't turn up the day of the eruption. You know when it's gonna happen, more or less, and you'll have at least a year to collect everything.
The park
after.
was there for 10 years, and there was no indication that it might start being active again. I mean, and they probably built the park 15 years ago.
Why would you build a park on an island with an active volcano? And a volcano that could potentially erupt within a few years. Or even within 10 or 15 or 20 years. What are you going to do? Evacuate the park and rebuild it afterwards?
I also want to double check, because it is supposed to be the same, it's obviously the same island as in the original movie.
It's the same island.
The original movie.
But they don't mention a volcano.
There is no
in the original,
volcano.
As far as I remember.
It's Isla Nublar. Did they build? No, it is Isla Nublar in the Jurassic World as well, right? It's not Isla Sorna, because that's the one the science place from the second movie.
No, they mentioned Nublar.
Because it has to be, because we see the old building. So, yeah. Hold on, I'm just trying to figure out, was there any indication that there was a volcano in the original movie?
I can't remember that, no.
Here's from Jurassicpedia. This seems to be, well, let's see. There is a volcano here, but I want to see when this map was made. Because, like, yeah, why would you build a park on an island with a volcano? Sure, like, if it's a small enough volcano that it won't affect the park too much. But this is one that will destroy the entire island if it erupts.
Yeah, because, I mean, the lava flows all the way to the docks.
Yeah, and looking at the map, the volcano is at the northernmost point of the island. And if I don't misremember the movie, the docks are at the southernmost point of the island. Yeah, ferry landing, yeah. So it it covers the entire island.
Yeah. Even if the volcano wasn't part of it, it's still, like... I mean, it is, though, because how else would you have everything that happens in the second movie?
Yeah.
Just adding to the stupid.
Yeah, like...
Piling it on. Because, I mean, yeah, sure. Then they make the second mistake. They bring the animals to the mainland.
Yeah. And
well,
not like build a new park, but to sell them. Illegally sell... First of all, I don't know how it is illegal. Because...
I mean, they're probably registered as... much like you can't sell tigers or lions. It's not legal.
But they mention in the first movie that extinct animals don't have any rights. And they don't mention in the second movie that we created an extinct animal rights bill or whatever. So technically they should be the property of InGen, who own the Masrani Corporation, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not the Masrani Corporation that tries to take them. So I guess it's the guy, Mr. Mills. I guess he's technically stealing them from the Masrani Corporation.
Yeah.
Fine.
Either way, why would you sell it to, I suppose, private people?
Yeah.
Who have no facilities to contain them?
And not only that, the dumbest part of that plot, we're moving ahead here, but, whatever.
Yeah.
Is that this guy, Eli Mills, who he's the facilitator or whatever, he takes care of this Mr. Lockwood. He takes care of his estate, his money.
Yeah.
And he's basically they couldn't do Hammond because the actor, I forget his name. The guy who played Hammond. He's been dead since like the early 2000s,
Richard
I think.
Attenborough.
Right, Richard Attenborough. Sorry. Oh. Yeah, brother to.
Never thought of that.
You never? Okay.
No. Cool.
And so they couldn't have him. So like they retconned this. Oh, he had a partner before the park. Oh, this is Mr. Lockwood, which is silly, but okay.
Yeah, because
but we can then, judging from his house and the fact that he helped to create dinosaurs, we can guess, and he has to have a person take care of his wealth for him. We can assume that he has a lot of money.
Yes.
So why is this Eli Mills guy, who has seems to have pretty free reign when it comes to his money?
Yeah.
I mean, he still has to run it by him, but I mean. He
Barely.
has all the money. Why does he create this? He steals these dinosaurs, sells them to like Russian gangsters and like Texas oil men with twirly mustaches, and he makes like $100 million from it. It's like, bitch, you have billions of dollars to play with. Why do you care about $100 million?
Specifically, because, I mean, he even kills this Benjamin Lockwood.
Yeah.
And then there's the kid. Sure, there's the kid. But if you check his papers, I promise you are still in charge of all of that until she becomes of age.
Yeah.
You have about 10 years before she's of age in America to waste all that money on whatever the fuck you want.
Yeah, just embezzle it like every finance or lawyer guy does.
Start selling off the bones and the house and the... I mean, did he build the underground auction?
No,
room?
that was actually a detail I discovered this time watching it. They do mention that it was in the basement laboratory of this house that the movie takes place in that they first created the first dinosaur back in like the 80s or whatever.
Sure.
So yeah, because otherwise, like, yeah, how did he build that massive facility without Lockwood noticing it?
That giant room where they have the auction, though. Like, what was that used for?
I don't know, an auditorium maybe to have lectures.
Yeah,
I don't know. But
it looks kind of weird.
It does, and that's what's so like.
It also looks a lot like the Slytherin common room because it has green tiles and like dark woods. I'm like, what the hell is going on? Why have you colored it this way? Is it to match the dinosaur scales?
No,
it's just weird.
We'll get to why I think it looks like it looks. But first of all, that's why the second half of this movie is like laughably stupid. It becomes this movie about like mad scientists because, you know, Dr. Wu is all like, oh, I need the DNA, you don't understand what it takes to create life. He's like full on Dr. Frankenstein at this point.
Oh yeah. And for no apparent reason. What is his reasoning? He never mentions money. Except for that shit is expensive.
Well, he's
a
scientist, I don't know.
Yeah, I suppose. Get back to that one then. They don't really have reasons, they just want to do it, I suppose.
Yeah, and then, you know, having this secret auction, and they're selling animals, and, like, you see, like, ooh, dollar signs going, like, like literally, like, reflecting in his glass, he's like, haha, money. It's all taking place at night, in the rain, in a spooky mansion. And then they have, like, the scary monster chasing the little girl around. It's just, like, it's so fucking awful. I mean, it's funny that it basically turns into a 1950s horror movie, monster movie in the end.
Yeah, it's a Scooby-Doo episode.
Yeah, but it's all done without any irony.
Yeah.
They're never, like saying, like, this is ridiculous, you know that, right? No, it's just like, oh no, this is super serious. Like, are you joking?
They even have the whole breaking out scene. What? First of all, how the fuck did... how did they even get off the island? Everyone who worked on that shit was dumb as fuck. Because none of them realized that, oh, that person's not supposed to be here. I don't know who you are. There's a girl here who isn't working with us. She looks a lot like the doctor that worked on the project before. No one realizes that. So first of all, you're all stupid.
There's a lot of conveniences here, you know.
Yeah. Second of all, they get to the house and then they get locked up. And oh yeah, there's a dinosaur in the next one that can bust open walls with his head.
Yeah, because, you know, the places where they're going to imprison the dinosaurs weren't built to withstand dinosaurs
that can butt head walls. Also, why do they add, like, the small details of the dinosaur? It looks like a baby, first of all. So it's probably not that strong, but I guess. And then it has to run into stuff and hurt itself? Come on. That's just stupid.
It is stupid and dumb and silly.
And unnecessary.
I would have I kind of like it, like, you know, or I would say I laughed a lot.
Sure.
And I would have liked it if it wasn't because they think they're doing a serious movie.
Yeah.
Like, goddamn, they introduce human cloning in this movie. Now it is no longer like a sci-fi movie where the main themes, the story is about, like, you don't play God. Now it's just full on, like, campy sci-fi. Like, oh, the aliens are coming, like, use your laser beams to attack them.
Because we have officially and effectively cloned humans. Which, God, I hope they actually use that in the third movie, because if they don't, then what the fuck was the point?
Yeah.
They have
all I
to
know
utilize
is that she's in the movie. That's about it.
Good, I
guess.
guess.
In the trailer. Yeah. And looking at... Because I managed to find the first, like, 10 minutes of the new movie.
Oh.
And I gotta say, as much as, like, they're moving away from the whole, you know, ethics of creating life and everything.
Yeah, because we're
the
done
whole
with
don't play
that.
God aspect.
It's too late, so I mean,
The new movie, it is full on fan fiction.
oh,
It is just, oh my god, dinosaurs exist and we gotta catch that. Like, there's no more like the scene from the original where they sit in that room and eat lunch and talk about the ethics of creating of recreating an extinct race or extinct animal. It's completely out of the picture. Now it's just like, oh, because they brought the animals to the mainland. Now they live in the wild, and we have to run around in a Jurassic world. It's just like
they have to learn to coexist, I guess.
It's completely removed from any sort of philosophical or ethical discussion. It is just, oh, it's a cool movie where dinosaurs are in in New York. Whoa! And it's kind of what made the sequels, the original sequels, not as good as the first Jurassic Park.
The first one, yeah.
Even though I like those movies, they're nowhere near as good as the first one.
No. To be honest, haven't rewatched the sequels
That's been a while
that
for
much
me.
at all in general. And I mean, I haven't rewatched the 93 version as well.
Oh, I watched it all the time. No, not all the time, but
it's the movie I do watch if I want to watch.
Yeah.
The Jurassic anything.
Fallen Kingdom is a complete sham. It's so bad.
First of all, well, we've said a bunch of first of all. So
Going back.
No, but like adding on to the issues with it, we don't even get to see. We get to see the animals in the wild for 10 minutes in the beginning, before the volcano erupts, and then it's all inside a mansion.
Yeah. Which, at least The Lost World had it running around in the streets.
Yeah.
Like King Kong,
This is just minimizing everything.
Yeah.
Well, what? They couldn't have him running around in the wild? They couldn't have, I don't know, brought him to that island they mentioned in the beginning to have it there? No, they had to put him in a mansion, because we need to contain this. It costs too much to have them running around in the wild. It just feels like they didn't know what to do.
Yeah, because like we said, it feels like, first of all, we didn't really mention that, but it's almost directly split down the middle. Like, the island part is like 50 minutes long, and then there's a little bit on the boat. So it's about an hour long. And then the last hour is all in the house. It's two movies, basically.
And the majority of the second part is the indoraptor, the new version of whatever, which is... It's a genetic makeup of the
Indominus Rex?
Indominus Rex from the first one, which is a new dinosaur, which is also made up of previous dinosaurs, and the velociraptor.
Yeah.
Velociraptor. So you've just put more shit into the Indominus Rex to make it smaller and faster.
Which is also kind of funny. So we talked about how this is kind of ripping off the plot of The Lost World.
Yeah.
But it's also ripping off the plot of Jurassic World. Yeah. Because once again, they're trying to create a weapon. Like, the same thing in the last movie.
And failed, because that one died.
Yeah.
Because there is, at least in the first one, in the 2015 one, they go back to the fact that there is no animal bigger or stronger than a T-Rex.
Yeah.
No matter what you do, the T-Rex will always win. Yeah. It is the fucking king of everything.
Yeah.
But no, they create a T-Rex mixed with a velociraptor now, and that one is an intelligent... I don't know, it doesn't feel like a dinosaur. It's like, it can climb and shit.
Yeah.
It's using both, like, the claws and the teeth to, tap to figure out where things are. It smells things. It has the little sensory feather stuff. It has everything. And also, just to make it obvious that it is a descendant from Blue, it has yellow streaks, just like Blue had blue streaks.
I know. Well, it's not a descendant from Blue.
Well, maybe not, but you know what? It's supposed to be connected to Blue somehow, because they want to use Blue to train this one. Yeah. Sort of.
Yeah. And also...
that fucker climbs stairs.
I know.
And it breaks, like, iron by just nudging it.
Because it's so big, I don't know.
It's just... It makes the iron look like butter.
Yeah.
It's stupid.
But
so stupid.
The worst part is, and that was kind of a problem in Jurassic World as well. In Jurassic Park, as dangerous as the situation is, all the dinosaurs are just animals.
Yes.
That's the whole thing.
Yes.
Like, they don't have to be like, chasing them and like, want to like take out revenge on the humans. It's dangerous enough that they are just giant animals.
Carnivores.
It's a metaphor, like that animals in general are dangerous.
Yeah.
Because they're outside of our control.
If they're bigger and stronger than you, just stay away, kind of. No, they have to now up the ante and make them clever.
Yeah, I was gonna say, in the second movie, they kind of make the T-Rex a villain, but that is because, of course, they steal their babies. There's a reason for it.
Yes.
And then the third one, that's where it starts to get kind of silly, because you have the big Spinosaurus.
All right.
Who's kind of chasing them around. But it's still like, it's just an animal chasing them. It's just, it's got their scent and wants to eat them.
Yeah.
But it's like, we're very close to monster movie here. Then in Jurassic World, they straight up create a monster. Like, literally a monster.
Yeah.
Because the Indominus Rex literally just kills because it wants to kill. Like, they show the scene where they pet the dying Stegosaurus or Diplodocon, I'm not sure. Diplodocus. And you see the trail of dead bodies that not eaten, it's just killed them.
And they even say, oh, it's hunting for pleasure.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. And then, like, but...
but then in Fallen Kingdom, it's literally a monster movie. They're being chased by a monster who, I mean, there are even scenes where I would describe it as, I described it as a pervert. It's like a weirdo pervert stalking little children. Like the scene in the, like, I guess, middle of the movie, where the little girl first discovers the lab, and she walks over that line, and you see the hand from the indoraptor comes out.
It grabs her hair a little bit.
It's touching her hair like, oh, little girl. You're just playing with her like a fucking pervert. And then it sneaks into her room and tries to get into her bed. It's like, what is going on here?
That detail, though, the fact that the motherfucker figures out how to open a door instead of crashing through the window.
Yeah, it's sneaking to try and, like, get a sneak attack on...
How does a dinosaur figure out how to open a door with the hand, though?
Well, that is actually established all the way back in the original Jurassic Park.
I don't remember that.
You see them, because they talk about how raptors are so intelligent, they might be the most intelligent animal ever.
Right.
They can even solve problems. They mention that just passing.
They don't mention that.
When they're in the... towards the end, when they're in the facility,
kitchen?
They're like, we don't have to worry, we're behind closed doors. And then you see a handle, like, moving, because they figured out, like, the door can open if I touch this thing.
Yeah, but then it's doing it from the top, pushing it down.
Yeah, I know.
Wrapping its claws sort of around. Now they're, like, coming from the top, pushing from the top with their curved... No, even like cats and dogs who learn how to open doors, you have to push from the top and pull it down.
Yeah.
You can't just push from the top.
It's
and
once
also,
again like
they haven't mentioned in the first or the second movies, in this case, that velociraptors are that clever that they would figure that shit out.
No, but that's canon, they think. So it's pushed to so far that it becomes silly. That's a problem. Yeah. Like, I don't have a problem with it opening doors. It's just that it makes it look like, this silly, like, Night Stalker.
It makes it, yeah. That's when I started fast forwarding because I got sick of it.
Yeah, it's so bad.
And then they end up on the roof, and it looks like a fucking chicken sitting on the roof. And you have Blue coming along. It just spirals.
let's talk a little bit about how they don't even stay consistent with the first Jurassic World. In that movie, Blue is basically a wild animal. He can barely contain Blue as much as he contains any of the others. In this movie, they show that, but when they were young, he created attachments to it.
I mean, there is a reason why Blue is the beta, sure.
Alpha. Well, yeah, beta, yeah.
No, she's the beta, technically.
No.
But she is the beta because she is second. She is the first one to react. She's the one who can keep the other ones in line. Sure. Yeah. I get it.
But then, in the end of this movie, she comes to the rescue, which they kind of do in Jurassic World as well, but here she comes to the rescue to save her beloved Owen Grady. And in the end, when they're on the steps, he talks to her, and she understands that, they're gonna take me back to a safe place, but that means I will be caged again. And she backs up and oh no, I can't do this, and runs away. It's like, is this an animal, or is it a monster, or is it a human? What is this?
Yeah.
In the last movie, she was seconds away from killing Owen every time they met. Why is she now like a dog?
Even in the beginning of Fallen Kingdom, when he tries to I got food for you, and she doesn't care that he throws it in her face. Because she's gone wild now.
Yeah.
She doesn't care about you anymore. Sure, she might not bite you the first thing she does, but she doesn't care. She's in the wild now.
It's the dumbest shit ever.
Yeah. Worse though, because they show the whole, you look, if I show weakness in front of the other ones, they attack, but if I show weakness in front of Blue, she cuddles me. She purrs like a fucking cat.
Yeah, that's not how a predator works.
No.
It's not a dog.
It might not attack you, but it's not gonna cuddle you.
And dogs, you can't just domesticate an animal in one generation. Dogs are pets now because we have domesticated them for thousands of years.
Even now, if you try to take a dog that's been living in the wild for years, it's gonna snap at you, it's gonna bite you if you try to feed it.
So how did they manage to domesticate a prehistoric animal that has that hasn't existed for millions of years?
That doesn't have any genetics for companionship that way, as far as we know.
It's so bad.
Unless we're completely wrong here and all the genetics point towards them being domesticated in the future, please could someone scientific tell us that we're wrong, and I'll accept it.
Yeah, but
for the information that I've ever learned, that is not a possibility.
Yeah. It is, and it's such a complete 180 of what the ideas of the original were. These are just animals.
Yeah.
They're not pets.
Just thinking dinosaurs were extinct from a meteor or whatever it was called.
Yeah.
We know that. If that thing that hadn't happened, the human race wouldn't exist.
No.
Because they would have just eaten the first ones.
They would have been the dominant, dinosaurs would have been the dominant species for all, forever.
So all the dinosaurs that got released into the wild from the 2015 version, not counting the other movies now, would have by now started eradicating humans.
Yeah.
There would be no big mammals left in the oceans from that one giant dinosaur, probably.
Yeah.
It would start depleting fish. What's it called? Fish populations of any kind. And the flying ones would have killed off all the birds, probably, and smaller animals as well on land.
Yeah, I wonder if they're gonna bring that up once again. That's just the kind of fan servicey, nerdy shit. It's that they're kind of replacing our animals from our time. That there's just dinosaurs now.
I mean, technically, I guess that is
dino burgers now, or
I mean, that would make sense though, because they are obviously, at least the carnivores are the apex.
Yeah,
we can't fight them, not even with bullets. Eventually, what are we gonna do? Explode them all?
Well, I guess you can still, defend yourself with guns. I mean, they're not impenetrable to guns.
But to a certain Like, if there's too many of them,
Yeah.
you're gonna run out of bullets.
Yeah. It's not like a pack of, I don't know, feral hogs.
not a pack
like
of-
imagine
no.
if like 5-6 velociraptors attack a community. Like, you're fucked.
Yeah. They're gonna wipe out half of it at least before you
Yeah.
put a stop to them.
Yeah, it's and that's
Because
the thing, it's
obviously,
so
even
simple.
though they do shoot Blue in Fallen Kingdom, and sure, she needs medical attendance, but like if they shot one and the other ones run away, they would just come back later
Yeah.
and just pick you off one at a time until you've killed them. It's just, if they don't address that in the third one, what the hell is the point?
They're not going to do that, you know.
They have to address the fact that, I mean, they do kind of do it in the end with the Dr. Malcolm going,
Yeah.
welcome to Jurassic World. Look what you've done.
Yeah,
Idiots.
there's a little bit of that. From what little I saw of the movie, the movie starts with like a newscast telling us this what has been going on in the last 3 years since the last movie, or I guess 4 years now, but yeah. Yeah. Like, it's stopped being like an interesting story of, like I said, ethics and morality. And it's just turned into schlock sci-fi, like horror stuff now.
Yeah.
It is just a movie about, oh, we gotta catch the big monsters.
Yeah.
Like the days of intelligent blockbusters is gone.
Well,
I mean, we
have
have the Northman, I suppose.
Maverick was pretty good.
Yeah, but it wasn't intelligent.
It's not intelligent, no,
Yeah.
I suppose not. Last thing I want to talk about before I'm like done with this.
Yeah.
In Sweden, we have this commercial now where a dinosaur talks in front of the government
Oh, yeah.
of whatever, the United Nations or something, about
yeah.
the environment.
Yeah.
I'm assuming that, I don't even remember what the third one is called now. What do we call
Dominion?
it? Dominion is going to be about that. It's going to be about environment.
Yeah. Probably.
Along with, obviously, the surviving in a world infested with dinosaurs.
Yeah, because that's how you tell a story about climate change. Dinosaurs!
Bring in dinosaurs. No, I'm just assuming that, like, oh, we've noticed that since they arrived now, since they've become part of our ecosystem, things have changed. And we will have to save the planet to be able to save them, or something.
Which is, yeah, once again, like, shoveling, or shoving, I mean, not shoveling, shoving, like, relevant politics into a story, you know, a timeless story that shouldn't be about, like, politics. Like, it's not about politics. Like,
No, it's not. Honestly, this franchise went too far even after, like, personally, the 93 movie.
yeah, like, as much as I like Lost World and Jurassic Park 3, like, there's only one really good movie, and it's Jurassic Park.
Yeah.
The rest ranges from to fucking trash.
And specifically, waiting so long, waiting almost 20 years to reboot, I suppose, the franchise is like, did you really need to, could you really bank on the name? I guess you could, obviously.
Yeah, you could.
But like,
That's what they started figuring out there in 2015.
Yeah, the
Because
banking
in that
on
year
names.
alone, we had this or Jurassic World, which, you know, they used. We talked about this before. They used the slow single piano version of the theme from the original to make you go. It's wistful, nostalgic. The bum
Yeah.
bum bum bum, and then the same summer, they did the exact same thing with the 2016 Ghostbusters, where they played. Bum bum bum.
Oh, that's
bum,
right.
Bum 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 bum.
Yeah.
You're like, ooh, oh, I remember when I was a child and I saw Ghostbusters, and then it was Star Wars as well. It wasn't a lone piano, but it was the quiet, soft version of the theme from the original. Like, remember when you were a child. Remember when things were good. Remember when movies were fun. It is pure nostalgia bait. And they figured it out. And after that, it's all they do. Because it worked. both Jurassic World and Star Wars pulled in so many billions of dollars that, they're never gonna stop until people stop watching the movies, and that's not happening.
That's not gonna happen.
I mean, even Ghostbusters, even though it was a flop, still pulled in, I think hundreds of millions of dollars.
Yeah, but, the Jurassic World and Fallen Kingdom both have really low scores.
Yeah.
I'm sure after a few years, it's been sinking, I suppose, because in the beginning, probably people praised it. Because, oh my god, it's so cool that we get this nostalgia trip with new technology.
Yeah.
But, I mean, the first one has a 59 Metascore, and Fallen Kingdom has a 51 Metascore.
It has a 50... They're both over 50?
Yes.
Jesus Christ.
But I mean, that's in the yellows. That's not even green.
Oh yeah, but the thing is, it doesn't matter. As long as they're pulling money.
True.
We talked about this before. Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
That's what's so sad. 59. I mean, that's
the one thing they did right though when they switched from Jurassic World to Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom is they gave Bryce Dallas Howard more appropriate clothing. She's not running around in pumps.
I don't understand why that became such a big thing. That whole sexist thing. That discussion felt so inflated.
Oh no! I don't care about that. I'm just saying, it's mind blowing that a woman would choose to run around in pumps.
Well, she didn't
instead
choose
of barefoot.
To. That's what she was wearing when she found out
could
her...
have taken off those shoes and just run around barefoot. For most of it, at least.
Whatever.
Or, break off the heels. I don't know.
I always thought that, because that was a full-on discussion on Twitter at the time. And I always thought that was so silly. Who gives a fuck? There's so many movies where women run around in heels. It's fine.
Sure. But they exaggerate it by making her wear all white... It's a flimsy shirt, she has this tight waist thing with the belt, and she has a skirt, a pencil skirt.
Yeah, because she's a business lady.
Yeah.
She's supposed to be the polar opposite of Owen. That's the thing.
Yes. It just bothers me because running in heels is horrible.
Yeah, I'm sure it is, but,
And then, at least they gave her more appropriate shoes. They gave her wider heels. She's still running in heels, but,
Well, she has boots
shorter
on when they get to the island, I think.
Maybe.
Yeah. Because when she steps off the plane, they also make a point out of it, look at this,
Pointing it out,
she's wearing boots.
She's appropriate. It's the same issue I have with, long-haired people in zombie movies. Just put up your hair. Pull it out of your face. If you're gonna crawl through sewers, pull it out.
Yeah.
Pull it out of your face. Put it up in a bun. Cut it off in worst-case scenario. Sorry, that's a pet peeve of mine.
Yeah. No, but that's
Anywho.
also... Yeah, well, not that, but going back to the discussion of, that these movies... this is why, movies are becoming dumber and dumber. It's that... And I've talked about that before as well, it's because people in general they're dumb.
Oh, yeah.
I'm sorry. People in general... if you take, the population of a country or the world, the average person is a moron.
Yes.
Where they don't think about things. Sure, they might think about, important things money and, their family or whatever. But when it comes to entertainment, because, it's also something getting us upset over movies, it's just entertainment. But it's something else. So that's also something we haven't talked about before, but that's also, we should acknowledge that. Getting upset over movies,
is dumb.
It's dumb.
We're kind of dumb for doing it, sure.
I know. But
we're valid. No, I agree. And there's two reasons. Well, there's one reason, and I have a point to prove it. We're dumber because of smart technology in general, phones, the internet. We have everything at the touch of our fingertips. We don't have to try anymore. You know how I've noticed that lately even more, not just watching movies that are dumb? On TikTok, there are more and more people posting let's see if you know this general knowledge. And it's what's the capital of France?
People don't
and
know.
people apparently don't know that.
It's Paris.
Yeah.
The most romantic city in the world. Well, I guess that's Venice, but still, one of.
You have that dude, I remember his name, who he goes on Omegle and talks to random people and wows them with his language skills, but then he also asks them random questions
I've seen it,
about the
I've
world.
seen it on YouTube, yeah.
Most of the Americans, at least, sorry, don't know where other countries are or what other countries are.
Yeah.
Apparently.
Yeah. And that becomes translated in to movies that,
Yes.
in order to make as much money as possible, they have to make movies fit
that
for
dumb people can understand.
Yeah, it's fit for a dumb person, which
it's not going to be difficult. We're not going to make you think.
Yeah.
Here you go. Colors and explosions and movement and sounds.
But
that's all you can process.
That is just what that is just it's maintaining the status quo, so to speak.
Yes.
But imagine if people were actually just a little bit challenged. A little bit. You can still have a bunch of dumb dinosaurs. But imagine if the movie ends, like, oh shit, so they're mean that, and people actually, discuss something.
Yes. Have it end with a question or something to make people have a discussion around it.
Yeah.
Not just talk about, oh, it's so cool, did you see the T-Rex bite the head of that goat?
Yeah. But
pose the moral dilemma towards the end.
But studios don't do that. Because they just want profits. Which is why, once again, the most important movie this year, and perhaps in a few years, is The Northman. Because not only... First of all, the movie's flopping. I don't know if you know that.
Oh, I
don't think
noticed
it's even
that.
going to recover its budget, unfortunately, because it kind of got inflated with reshoots and stuff. And it's because people think it's too weird. It's not like a regular movie. It's not Braveheart. It's too weird. But the thing is, when you watch it, it is a pretty straightforward story.
Yeah, we said in the episode, it's really a basic hero's story, hero's journey, and it just poses the question of what's worth what?
Yeah, what really is honor?
Yeah,
and it poses that question in a good way, not a bad way.
Yes.
So I'm amazed that people aren't giving it a shot.
No, because it looks too weird.
Yeah, that's the thing. Because it has some weird stuff, it has the whole when they're tripping on mushrooms in the beginning, and there's some weird visuals, and people just those little digressions into weird stuff, because that's, first of all, it's historically accurate, and Robert Eggers loved that stuff, but also because it makes it more artsy. Then people like that. Nah, it's weird. But weird can be good too.
Exactly.
Give it a goddamn shot. No, I promise you, Jurassic World Dominion is gonna make close to $1 billion, because it's gonna get less now because it's pandemic still, but it's still gonna make hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of millions in profit, and they're gonna just keep making these fucking movies, and we'll never see another Northman. We're never gonna get another 90 million art house movie. That's never gonna happen again.
Probably not. I mean, the only production company that does still make kind of artsy movies is A24.
Yeah, but it was too expensive for them. That's why Universal had to distribute the movie. Yeah, but it's sad. I mean, I saw this video from a YouTuber called Broe Deschanel, who talks mostly about movies, but some other stuff as well. And she talked about the death of cinema, which she talks about. But she actually had an interesting, a different view on how it might change. That there has been, throughout the roughly 120 years of cinema, there has been a change. People talked about the death of cinema as far back as the 50s.
Yeah. But
then we, of course, had the upswing in the 70s, we talked a lot, when movies became good again, so to speak. So she proposed that this era of idiotic blockbusters of Marvel movies and Jurassic World movies and Star Wars might come to an end when, people actually get tired of them, if they ever do get tired of them.
I mean, if you look at trends and history, that would make sense.
Yeah, and then movies...
We should swing back soon.
Yeah, and then movies like, the small budget, like, interesting movies that actually kind of, regular people to watch as well. Like, we talked about Get Out a lot. Mm-hmm. Of course, The Northman. One of our favorite movies, two of our favorite movies from the last couple of years, Pig and Kid Detective, like smaller movies that are really interesting, might become the new normal.
Oh, thank heavens if that actually happens.
But of course that hinges on that the mainstream starts accepting smaller, weirder movies. That's the thing, though.
Yes.
And I don't know if that's ever going to happen, because people are just going to get stupider. I know it's not a word, but you know what I mean.
Well, it is a positive thing. You mentioned Get Out.
Yeah.
I think people like Jordan Peele might be the last straw that actually brings back the clever movies.
Well,
because he is a popular person whose movies have so far done pretty good, right?
Yeah.
And he is releasing a new one this summer?
I think so, yeah. It's going to be interesting to see if people go and watch Nope.
Yeah.
I am. We're both going to watch it.
It's cool. Of course. If the trend of his movies keep going, then perhaps he will be the turning point.
Yeah.
He will be the herald,
the savior
in the new movies.
Yeah.
New era of movies.
That would be nice.
God.
I hope so, nice. But, I'm not as hopeful as she was in the video.
Well, I don't know yet. I haven't decided. Yeah. Either way, what do we know? We'll watch Dominion. Perhaps we'll be floored. I doubt it.
Yeah, what if it's a masterpiece,
But what if? You know what? To find out, check out next week's episode.
Yeah, and also, because we actually get it a day early here in Sweden,
that's right.
I think we're actually going to, because it's such a big movie, of course you're going to be able to listen to it earlier on Patreon, but I think I'm also going to release the free version earlier.
A little bit earlier, just for the clicks.
Yeah, for the clicks. I'm sorry. If we're going to watch this piece of trash, I at least want clicks from it.
Yes. So expect it on...
like Friday.
Thursday,
maybe even Thursday, depending on how tired we are when we get back.
Yeah, depending on how quick we can record it.
Yeah.
And get everything done.
But that's for next week.
That's gonna be it for today.
So, thank you so much for listening. I hope you didn't take offense when I called you dumb, because I said people in general. That means you as well. I'm sorry.
That means us as well.
That means us as well, yeah. I'm no genius at all.
No.
But I want to, most people are dumb. I said it in a very crude way, but I want to end this episode. First of all, check us out, patreon.com/don'tmakescene. Check us out on all major platforms where you can listen to us every week. But I want to end this video with the greatest, words of wisdom when it comes to, movies and audiences ever. And it's from the wise Mr. Plinkett.
I therefore must say that my Titanic review results in this conclusion. Most people are dumb and don't like to be challenged intellectually or emotionally. They like the familiar and gravitate towards things that feel safe and non-confrontational. Titanic as a movie played it safe. All the things I suggested to add depth to the characters were disregarded. James Cameron isn't a lousy screenwriter. He might, in fact, be a fucking genius of some kind. But whether it's emotional familiarity, vicarious fantasy romance, simple adventure and excitement, sci-fi action and danger, or cheap thrills and laughs, these are movies, and this is what people love about them. The ability to vicariously transport yourself into a fantasy world, away from your boring day job as a bank teller, a CPA, or a toll booth operator. But it's not just emotion and escapism. The success of movies often comes in their simplicity, just like how most newspapers are written on the 4th grade reading level. You see, the average human IQ is 100. So if you want your film to make money, you've got to aim for average.
I just heard that you have to see it.
It's just so full of human drama. It has all of life in it.
I liked all the special effects of how the boat was sinking and how it was made.
Oh, and the romance played a big role in the movie, I think.
Just look at the top box office films of all time, and then consider Suicide. It's the reason why a quality film like Hugo earned nearly 10 times less than a movie like Shrek 2. Directors like Cameron and Spielberg are masters at pulling at those all-important heartstrings. With some exceptions, they are the makers of the movie versions of Applebee's, Panera Bread, and TGI Fridays. Exceptionalism is the exception, my friends. The brilliant, complex, and challenging falls to the wayside, while the safe and the familiar is the norm. So this is why I can't say officially that Titanic is a bad movie. You see, Titanic aimed for the middle, and it hit the mark perfectly. Titanic makes you step back and look at the bigger, more depressing picture, that we're mostly creatures of habit, and we're all average. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.